Ham Ham Hooray, everybody. It's Jeff Eichen. We're live at 12:01 on planet Earth. Like Devo says, I'm on planet Earth. I'm here to stay. I'll live my life. I'll love my wife. you know. So no woman, no cry. It's Jeff Eichen here with episode 261. I didn't throw my poster up there today, but I have a new T-shirt that I'm making. It's called "In My Lifetime." Can you see me, Vivian?
Yeah, man, I'm seeing you.
Okay, I froze for a second on my side. So technology is beautiful. We have Solo Breezy in the house. Thank you, Solo, for holding out the next generation for us. OG stands for old guy. So today's a pretty important, a very important. They're all important episode. We're gonna have a roundtable. We'll see who else shows up here today. People know where I'm at. I mean, not always. It's nice to have surprises and mystery. I was always taught or listened to the sadhus that mystery is the mystery of life. It's just, if we knew everything, then, you know, that was that. I mean, it's not about the Zabruder case and all the paperwork and who did it. I asked my father, everybody. Oh, by the way, it's episode 261, Jeff Eichen with Weeds Day. Welcome to my team and to everybody. But I asked my father once when I was a kid, not how many grains of sand were in the beach or how many stars were in the sky. I said, Dad, somebody knows. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, somebody knows. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, who killed President Kennedy? He says, I don't know. I said, the guy that pulled the trigger. So there you go. So somebody knows maybe the cure for cancer. Somebody knows the water car, the car. I mean, is it all skeptical that the guy who invented the water car, not the hydrogen car, but car that ran on water, and now there's a car that runs on radio waves. The water car guy died mysteriously, The guy that was doing the gallbladder flush died mysteriously, mysteriously. That could help your liver to be strong and live forever, So I'm not that kind of person, that believes in conspiracy. So today's episode is not about conspiracy. Um, there's an incredible effort by the United States government, hopefully, with people like Weldon D'Angelo's and Amy Pova, who's been on our show many times. They've all been alerted to come today, and maybe we'll get a guest host by somebody who's actually visiting the White House and talking to these people. And Solo, what do you got?
I said I do have a special guest coming through.
Oh, nice.
Heather. She lives out in California. So she deals with a lot of the weed laws out in California, particularly. So she'll be coming through. She's getting ready.
Okay.
A little bit. We gotta have women come through. Shout out to the beautiful women. Also, nice to meet you, Vivian. You live out in Seattle, Washington, sir?
Yes, I am, man.
I've heard so many wonderful.
I've got a delay on my video, but yes, man, Seattle Hemp Fest, 28 years.
Well, I want to say it's a pleasure to finally meet you, sir. I've heard so many wonderful things about you. So here's the funny thing, Vivian. I've heard so many great things about you from Uncle Eric across the border and Uncle Axel. So I've heard so many wonderful things about you from Uncle Eric. So it's a pleasure to finally meet you. I'm so breezy.
Thank you
That's how I met. Yes, that's how I met Jeff through Eric Boone and Axel. So that's how I ended up meeting Uncle Jeff.
Excellent, man. Some of those things you heard about me, some of them are actually true.
So you must be a legendary pot smoker.
I've incinerated more marijuana than the DEA.
Well, let's visit that for a second. Vivian, when was the first time you smoked, and what was the circumstance?
The first time I smoked was 1971 at a Grand Funk Railroad concert. I was.
Is that Smoke on the Water? Is that their song?
No, Closer to Home. I'm your captain, right? I'm getting closer to my home.
Oh, right.
They had a lot of big hits, like We're an American Band and all that kind of stuff. But I was 12 years old in LA, me and my buddy, you know, and we were long-haired freaks. And I'm in the row in this big, huge spliff of Mexican commercial. You know, they're passing it down. It had that sweet smell. And the dude looks at me, you know, this older guy, and he passes me the joint. I took a bunch of hits off of it. But I didn't get high the first time. It wasn't until a year later in 8th grade that I was new in the school in Folsom. I was like the only second other kid with long hair in the whole school. And this girl asked me if I wanted to get high after school. And we went to her home, and she had a loft up in the garage, in the roof of the garage, right? She had like plywood up there, and she took me up there and baked me completely out. And we had just moved from LA to Folsom, and because my grandfather died. And I started to walk home, and I forgot where I was. I forgot that I was even in Folsom. I was so high, and I remember I sat down on the sidewalk. I didn't want to go any farther. And it took me about 10 minutes. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. My grandfather died. Oh yeah, we moved to Folsom. Okay, I think I know where I am. So that was my first real weed experience. It was a while ago.
And tell us a little bit about your legacy with HempFest and meeting Jack Herer. And since we're on a reform show, and we're going to talk today a little bit about rescheduling instead of descheduling. And so, yeah, tell us a little bit about your legacy.
Well, you know, I'm a counterculture person, and I was a cannabis culture person my entire adult life and teenage life. And I was in a group called the Seattle Peace Heathens. I started a group called the Seattle Peace Heathens in the 1980s here in Seattle as a community action group for alternative culture, music youth, and at-risk youth, homeless youth, to get them involved and engaged in community service. And we were doing a lot of benefit shows, and I was emceeing these benefit shows for various causes. And there was a peace concert in Gasworks Park in Seattle, and a bunch of us stayed and made it a 6-month occupation as a protest against the Persian Gulf War. And somebody came up with the idea to do a cannabis event, and they said we need to get Vivian to MC it. And so I got a call from this guy, and his idea was to do a hemp fest. And so we teamed together and did the 1991 Seattle Hemp Fest, and Jack Herer was our main speaker that first year. And Jack never missed us. And we went on for 28 years. It became the largest annual cannabis reform event in the world, with 100,000 people attending every year. And Jack never missed one while he was alive, except the one the year 2010, I think it was, when he had his stroke. Then he came right back on the trail, even learning to speak while he was speaking at events, learning to speak again from his stroke.
Right.
And you know, when you have 100,000 people coming year after year after year to a beautiful downtown park on the waterfront, you can't ignore that political statement. And so we played a big role in Washington State being one of the first 2 states simultaneously to legalize cannabis in 2000.
So by having your event lighten the load with the government here in Washington and brought the awareness, because they didn't arrest anybody at your events for smoking.
Yeah, well, it didn't start off that way. They were coming in with, initially, in the first 4 years, we didn't see any police inside of our event. But then in 2015, when we got, or 1995, when we had about 50,000 people, they started coming in and doing undercover buy busts and stuff. But it only took us a few years to kind of work with the city, and we kind of came to a handshake, wink and a nod agreement that we would make sure that there were no sales, no visible sales going on in our event. But we weren't going to enforce anything against public smoking because we considered that an act of political civil disobedience. And so we kind of came to an agreement that as long as there were no open sales, that they wouldn't bust anybody for smoking. And this was a behind the scenes agreement, right? They couldn't publicly make any kind of official statement like that. But it was kind of an understanding that we had. And they were impressed that we were operating so professionally with a safety first attitude, and that our word was gold. If we told the city that something was going to happen, it happened when we said it was going to happen, the way we said it was going to happen. And if it wasn't going to happen that way, we would tell them in advance. And so they realized they could trust us, that we weren't going to fuck up, you know. And so for the last, I don't know, I want to say 20 years, there was never even a citation issued with, you know, tens of thousands of people smoking openly. And towards the end of the event, the police were our friends, and we had knew them on first name, and we had a 100-person security team called the Seattle Hemp Fest Safety Patrol that was trained and with, you know.
Yeah, every year when I would park across the street and come in, I'd see the same people, same police people at the door, and they'd watch me wheel my cameras in, and they go, "Oh, hey, it's that rainbow guy." You know?
Yeah, I mean, towards the last, I want to say 15 years, they're like, "Look, we're going to be on the perimeter in our little camp. Give us one of your radios. We'll have it on your security channel. Here's our cell phone numbers. You know, the lieutenants. If you need us, call us, and we will be right there." Because they felt that we had it wired, right? Because we openly stated that there was no cause worth somebody getting hurt, and our main priority was, our first priority was safety first. Our second priority was changing the law.
And so,
and you know, we were prepared for just about everything. We always thought it was going to be the government if we ever were ended, but it turned out to be a pandemic that ended the event and shut us down right event and put us 100,000 in debt.
So what was your tagline?
Our tagline basically was, don't ever underestimate your ability to make a difference, and we need to get domestic industrial hemp production, safe access to medical cannabis, and prisoners out of the prisons and jails for cannabis.
Yeah, that's where
we didn't quite achieve that last part. That's what we're doing now.
That's where I met George Monterano. I met Freedom Grow there, and who was the guy that got out of jail? Let's see, and he wore rainbow pants, and he died. But I got an interview of him, and he said, "You put me in jail, you put my family in jail."
Was that Jeff?
Jeff Mazansky? No, it wasn't Jeff, but he was there. Yes, I remember. But no, it was. Yeah, it was. Anyways,
George and Jeff, we did raffles for several years and raised money, and then put it on their commissaries.
Right.
And then when George was freed, we brought him to Hemp Fest, and that was exciting.
Yeah, he was doing Guns for Pot, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, you give him a gun and he'd give you an ounce or something like that, you know? So I just saw an update on George this week. Well, everybody, it's Jeff Eichen here. I'd like to introduce and to welcome CC Ryder. Sounds like a cool song, you know? And so... CC, are you Solo Breezy's bring in?
I am.
Hi, how are you today?
I am fabulous. It's lovely to see you. How are you, Sunshine?
We're doing great. My name is Jeffrey, and I'm the host of our show, the host of the most. And today we're going to do a roundtable and talk about descheduling, rescheduling, and what's going on. I have to get my intro on, but let's get Solo. You wanted to say something, Solo. Come on in. Solo?
Oh, yeah. I just want to introduce CC. We can call her CC, or she can go by her government. It's up to you. If you have any questions, she can tell you more what it's like out in California about what she does with cannabis out there. And she's also a Canna mom. So She has her own story whenever she wants to share it.
We'll get to you an interview in just a second. We're going to start off. I'm going to share my screen and give my intro, and it'll explain what's going on today. So everybody, hang back, load your bowl, and out in bowl land, and or as Jeannie 420 says, we're all bowl mates. You know, just like soulmates here. So I'm going to go to my QuickTime. And I'm going to give us a beautiful, beautiful beginning here. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so
Yeah.
here we go. Welcome to episode 259.
1, 2, 3.
It's actually 261. I was stoned on that edit. Until we get the license, don't bogart that joint, my friend. Pass it over to me. Roll another one, just like the other one. Love you, everybody.
Shifting weed from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 is the wrong move. It will do absolutely nothing to legalize weed or get the tens of thousands of people incarcerated for cannabis-related offenses out of jail. All it does is change its status from a drug with, quote, no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse, to one with, quote, moderate to low potential for physical and psychological dependence. It puts cannabis in the same category as things like ketamine and anabolic steroids, but it doesn't move it out of the Controlled Substances Act, which means that it will still be illegal to possess under federal law. One thing Schedule 3 will do, though, is place fewer restrictions on scientists who want to study the plant, something they've had to jump through government hurdles to be able to do under Schedule 1. It would also theoretically allow cannabis to be available by prescription, but since there's no federal medical cannabis program, the more likely scenario in my mind is that pharmaceutical companies see this, jump on the weed wagon, and charge you out the ass for drugs they make and doctors prescribe. At the end of the day, rescheduling cannabis from 1 to 3 would be the biggest move the federal government has ever made concerning the plan. But the fact remains that there are tens of thousands of individuals, mostly people of color, who are incarcerated for cannabis-related offenses, and this move won't help keep anyone out. Descheduling it and decriminalizing it altogether is the only solution to that end.
Let's have a great show today, episode 261, WEEDSDAYS podcast, and end prohibition and re-legalize marijuana. Roundtable today, and let's talk about it. Figure this whole thing out. Welcome, and Pamperay. Thank you, Hempest. Go watch my movie, everybody. LifeVersaMovie.com. And don't forget, we're planning a concert right there. That was it. That was Oakland Coliseum. I made it there last year. So everybody, do the best you can in life. I have one more thing I'm going to try to find. Let's see if we can, while we're in our share mode here, see if I can bring up my my downloads here that I just downloaded this beautiful video here that I made. Let's see if it'll play. Sometimes my computer gets all wompy. Okay, so let's see. Is this it? No. Is that it? No. Maybe it's this one. Nope. Nope. It is. Well, I'll show you this one, by the way. This is fun. This is everybody's need for weed. I'm packaging all my weed photos for my auction that I do for the International Cannabis Film Festival. That we had our first showing in Colorado, and it was great. It was great fun. And so just be prolific, everybody, and get the word out. I'm going to come back now, everybody, and here we go. So let's go back to our Zoom chat here and see everybody on the room here. And there we go. There we go. So, Cece, tell us a little bit about yourself, about California, how being a Canna mom is important, and why nobody should be in jail for a plant. And maybe at the end of you're telling us who you are, you can tell us about rescheduling and your thoughts on that, because that's what today's about. It's about the information. I have another video I'm going to share with you about that, but right now, let's meet and introduce the goddess in the room, Cece.
Hi guys, thank you for having me. It's an absolute honor. I appreciate it. I love the old pictures of the Coliseum. We don't get to see it here very often anymore since all our teams left. But we have a new team, the Ballers. We'll leave it to Oakland to develop a team called the Ballers. I love it. So as you know, I'm in California. I am in the I'm in Bay Area. I'm in Northern California.
Mm-hmm.
I am a Canna mom. I have a smaller child that lives with me. In 2019 to 2020, about that time frame, I went into full liver failure with stage 4 liver cirrhosis. And as you would know, what the hospitals do is they send you home with grocery bags of all these different medications. So I had like 28 different medications. I was bedridden for about 8 months, and I had to go through multiple surgeries. I still have only 1/1800th of a liver, but I am no longer on any of the medications. The only thing I take is cannabis. I do a little bit of everything when it comes to cannabis, because for me, each part of the plant is designed for a different part of my body, and I use it as such. So certain things will help me with certain parts, such as if I need pain relief, if I need to be able to feel hunger, if I need to sleep. So I have full spectrum plant involvement in my house all the time for myself. On top of that, because I am also a stay-at-home mom, I have what I call my CC Cafe, which is my outside yard where I'm at now. And it is basically just anyone who wants to come over, kick it. It's a cannabis cafe. I make you coffee. We have whatever you need to smoke, or whether I can make you tea or coffee. It's cannabis.
Wait a minute. Is that at your house? It looks like your backyard. And it's legal? It's legal to do that in Cali?
I don't sell it.
Oh, so it's a party.
No, it's just a kick it cafe. So I have a lot of friends that use as well, whether it be recreational or medicinal, and neighbors as well that work in the hospitals that come by and check on people and be like, okay, so how are you feeling? Because I try to keep a lot of our medical staff involved in what I do, because again, I have stage 4 liver cirrhosis, and I reached my life expectancy last year, and I'm still going on no medication, but just cannabis.
Wow.
So I'm like, yeah, all the medications that you gave, all they did was deteriorate my body and feed it garbage and deplete it. And so when I took all that away and started using just cannabis and using specific cannabinoids for certain parts of my body to get done what I needed, my body started to improve. I started to get healthier, and now I'm back up and I'm dancing. I mean, I'm not back to 100% what I used to be. I am severely disabled, but I now have the ability to at least stand and be able to clean my own house, which is really nice. I'm not going to lie. And at my age, I'm only 51. I'll be 52 this year, but I shouldn't be locked in a place at this age. And I refuse to let myself be that way. So with motivation and a lot of cannabis, I'm not going to lie, I'm able to get up and function. And a lot of people don't realize that in my condition, because I don't have a liver, my tolerance is much different. I don't get the euphoric high as much. If I do, it lasts anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes. What I get from it is the pain relief and the ability to move forward and to be able to breathe, to be able to be awake and move forward, and not just be out of pain and now exhausted. I can actually be out of pain and exhilarated.
And is that sublingual, or is that is that smoking?
Sublingual smoking. I do vape. I do flower. I do tinctures. I do mocktails. I do edibles. So, and I do tabs. So whatever, depending on what my pain level is or my situation level is, cannabis has a product for it. Even if it's a topical, I do those as well.
CC, I have a question for you.
Sure.
I remember a 1970 movie called CC and Company where Joe Namath played a biker named CC Ryder that was spelled just like your name. Are you aware of that movie?
Yes, I am. I love me some Joe Namath and some Elvis Presley, even though I know he stole it.
There's got to be a song there. There's got to be a.
The only person who got that right. In all my years, you're the only person that's ever caught that. So well played.
Excellent.
Now, what was the brand? Now, what was the brand on that he wore?
Yes, yes, and Margaret was in that as well. It was a killer movie. I remember I saw it when I was about, what, 12 or 13.
Oh, my lucky number, 13.
So this is what we're talking about, people. We're talking about medicine. We're talking about herbal medicine, and I have a beautiful tincture here that's local. Yeah, there's farmers fell
I think you'll
on.
appreciate this one.
Yeah. And I've got the beautiful tincture here that my buddy just made, and he soaked his weed for 30 days and made a beautiful tincture. But nobody deserves to be in jail for something that is helping you, right, Stacey?
Absolutely. And I not only do I have stage 4 liver cirrhosis, I also have stenosis. I have degeneration and compression in my lower back and my neck on neuropathy, and it helps for all of it.
Whoa!
Not to mention the ADD and ADHD. That's always fun.
And do you use the lotion and the cream for your neuropathy?
I do. I have 2 specific salves I use. One of them is Kind, and the other one that I just tried recently that I absolutely adore is Homegrown Creation salve.
So is it CBD, CBG, CBA, or is it THC cream?
My Kind is all of the above.
Well, check this out, you guys. I just got this from NOCO, and that's a Charlotte's Web gel, and that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And I also got these Charlotte Web's gummies here, recovery, and will they take me off of Facebook if I eat a Charlotte's Web gummy? So there's a Charlotte's Web gummy here, and
all I know is you're taking candy, Uncle Jeff. I just know it's candy. I don't know what you're talking
about.
Hey, it's candy. Hey, whoa! I can feel it already. But Vivian, tell us the story of Charlotte's Web, Piggy.
Oh, well, there was a little. I'm not an expert on it, but there was a little girl named Charlotte who had, I believe, she had severe epilepsy, didn't she? A seizure disorder, and so as many seizure disorder patients, especially children, have tremendous response to cannabis oil. And I believe that folks connected to her family did a lot of research and breeding and discovered the cannabinoid profile that gave her the best relief.
The brothers in Colorado, remember the brothers that developed the Charlotte's Web?
Right. And sadly, she passed away a few years ago, but her legacy continues to provide relief to children and adults that suffer seizure disorders.
She did have 300 seizures a week, and when she used Charlotte's Web, in what form, I don't know how the parents gave that to her, she went down to 2 or 3 seizures a week instead of 300 by using the cannabinoid product, everybody. So That's
it was a tincture, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I would think it would be sublingual.
yeah. The tincture, yeah. Charlotte's Web tincture. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So let's talk a little bit about rescheduling, descheduling. Solar Breezy, are you still with us? Did you leave us to go get some water or to empty the lizard? So everybody, let's talk about rescheduling, descheduling, and how it doesn't make sense or it does make sense. I mean, for gosh sakes, Dr. Machulam got to study cannabis for how many years in Israel? How backwards are we, here in America? So
I can do scheduling quickly if you'd like.
yeah, come on in.
Well, considering we are one of the youngest countries.
I think that cannabis should be Schedule None instead of Schedule One. But descheduling could accomplish some reasonably good things. It could end up with easier access and fewer restrictions for cannabis research, scientific research. It could change the tax treatment of 280E, and businesses could deduct normal expenses and potentially, boost their profits because they would be on a equal playing field with other businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Doctors would be able to prescribe cannabis, but it would only be an FDA approved form. But you could actually get a prescription from your doctor. It wouldn't really affect recreational cannabis because it's not legalized. It would still be not legalized federally, but those are based on state laws. But it could improve banking access, but that would require new legislation, but it'd be a lot more apt to happen. And interstate commerce would still be restricted, so you wouldn't be able to sell cannabis to another state. But the new Terrence Cole, President Donald Trump's nominee to lead the Drug Enforcement Agency, hasn't really taken a public stance on scheduling, but he has said that he would. He said that he would prioritize reviewing the stalled rescheduling process. Would be one of his priorities. But still, he would have to consult with the DEA, which is really not very encouraging.
That's like talking to Darth Vader about, about Fruit Loops and Cocoa Puffs.
I was gonna say Sunday school, but yeah, that works.
Yeah, it'd be like asking Darth Vader if the Force should be liberated. It's really the Trump administration. It seems like all of their actions are either transactional, resulting in his own personal gain, punitive political revenge, culture war salvos, or payoffs to his billionaire donors. And there's nothing in Project 2025 about reducing the federal schedule of cannabis. But it now polls about 55% for legalization with Republicans, which is a big switch. So I think it's really hard to really anticipate what this administration will do. However, I got to say it was a Biden proposal to reschedule.
Right.
And Donald Trump doesn't like to throw anything towards Biden. So I think that we really don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen, but there is a common sense that a lot of Trump supporters would support legalization despite the culture war dynamics.
Well, almost every grandma and grandpa have tried it now and or have been using it forever, and they're and it's not allowed to be in the rehab centers or the old people's homes. And when Mountain Woman, when I met Mountain Woman and the Grateful Dead people and everything, I said, why don't we take all of our money and do an incredible rainbow retirement home, where there's weed, where there's music, and where there's hippies and headbands and rainbow, you know, wheelchairs and everything. We just have the most fun retirement homes ever, but we have weed in there. You know, that's what we need. We need to get weed to help us with our pain.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say something. Real quick. The funny thing is, though, Trump actually put in the hemp 3 bill, the hemp bill in, so we can get THCA shipped across to us along, the lines, right? We can still get CBD, but the issue is that people don't understand, especially in the cannabis community, they want us to turn on each other when really we should be fighting the government. And the funny thing is, the government has a patent on the cannabis, even though we know more than the average people do. So it's kind of interesting how the government says they want to look into it. Schedule is 3 now. The other funny thing is, I don't think they want to make cannabis legal, because the minute they make it legal, we're not going to the pharmacy, we're not going to Rite Aid, we're not going to Walgreens, we're not doing any of it. They want to get their hands on it so they can study it and then put it inside the Walgreens and Walmart and et cetera, et cetera. If you really think about it,
there's no passionate
they want us, right? And then think about this, right? I know Uncle Jeff, we're activists, we're going to keep it 100 here, right? They don't want people like me, my color, getting rich off this, because we're still behind bars out there. What are we doing out here, people? What are we doing? I'm going to tell y'all what they just did here in Pennsylvania. What they want to do is pass a bill saying they wanted alcohol to run dispensaries here in Pennsylvania. How does alcohol have to do with weed? How does weed have to do with alcohol? Two totally, completely different things.
Well,
they won't legalize it. They won't legalize it fully legalized in our state, but it's medical. But then we can go to jail for a medical card. They want all this stuff, but then they move the goalpost for all of us cannabis people. It's not fair out here.
That's what they did in our state, Solo. They gave cannabis is overseen by that used to be the Liquor Control Board, is now the Cannabis Alcohol Control Board. It's ridiculous.
Right. I got up on stage, maybe even at HempFest, and I said, nobody beat their wife on pot, but alcohol's legal. You know.
Exactly.
You know, the byproduct of smoking pot are the munchies
and creativity.
Yeah, I'm bigger and better bombs.
Welcome, Kim Gottlieb Walker, landswoman, former incredible legacy photographer from Cheers and from Bob Marley. So welcome. Vivian, have you met Kim before? Have you met Kim, Vivian?
I have not. Not that I remember.
Okay, we'll go around the horn. Kim, meet Vivian. He put 100,000 people on for 30 years at HempFest.
Hi, Kim.
And Kim photographed Bob Marley.
Among others.
Can't go wrong with Bob.
Yeah, I shot the famous High Times cover with Bob and the pile of herb in front of him.
Sweet.
One of the
Iconic.
only times he enjoyed posing.
That makes sense.
Well, it's really great to have you, Kim. Give us an update on how your book project's going.
Well, Lenswoman in Love just made the short list for the Hawthorne Award from the American Writing Awards. So that's exciting.
Oh, great.
And it won 3 silver medals at BookFest for historical romance, 20th century, and women's fiction. So it's all good. It's all good. Everybody who's read it has enjoyed it.
It's all legacy. Solo, give us a quote for the day.
I want to give a quick quote, but real quick, Kim, I gotta get you. Kim, I'm gonna buy your book eventually, and I definitely want to sign a photo. And then what I want to do, can I take a photo with you? You mean so much to me already. I want to take a photo with you. Can I do that one day?
Sure. Hopefully when I'm looking better. I had a gallbladder attack last night, so I'm not looking my best at the moment.
I got you. But I want to say I just want to convince you to take an in-person photo with you and learn more about you, of the photography and all that stuff. I love looking at photos and stuff, and also other people you've taken shots with. You said Cheers, right? You said the TV show Cheers. I've heard of that show. That's from the 70s or 80s, right?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know too much about that. Can you tell me more
Cheers
about that?
Cheers is a great show. Jeff Eiken's sister was one of the producer writers on it. It's a fabulous show, and I was on it for 9 years.
I had that map that used to be behind Norm and his bestie on the wall in my bedroom for years because of that show growing up.
And Woody Harrelson came and was a featured speaker at Seattle Hemp Fest 2 separate years, and he was spectacular.
Yeah, Woody got his start on Cheers.
Yep.
He's got quite an interesting past and family history. Bless his heart.
Yeah, our little room here is packed with some past, present, and future. Let's get ready to put the concert on. Let's find Woody Harrelson and Mike Tyson and get ready to have a concert. I met Jelly Rolls people this week, and because we're connected to Stash Wagner and Don't Bogart That Joint song, for those of you who knew that I went to meet Stash Wagner in the Philippines and redid his video. I'm not going to show it today because they'll tag me because it's the original song and we don't own license to it. But the bottom line is that Jelly Roll is a prison activist, and Jelly Roll is one of the top, most famous people right now in country music. Does everybody know Jelly Roll? Okay, we got three nods. How about you?
I love Jelly
And
Roll.
Vivian's got a nod. So Jelly Roll is cool, and he's doing a free event for a friend of mine that I met, this guy Trevor, back in wherever Midwest, and he says, Jeffrey, that sounds great. Let's get Jelly Roll, let's get Wiz Khalifa, and fly to Texas and go in the studio for 1 day with Willie Nelson and have him do the remake so we can re-snag
Those are so good.
the copyright, because Willie Nelson would love to do Don't Bogart That Joint, my friend, pass it over to me, as his legacy song. You know, that would be so.
They're so good. They're so good. You haven't heard them yet?
Wait till I do it. Wait till I pull that one off.
No,
And
they're out.
yeah, huh?
They're out. They're out. Willie did it.
Willie did what?
He went out and did a song with Jelly Roll. He did one with Snoop Dogg and one with something else. It just came out, I think, last week.
Right, but we're gonna do Don't Bogart That Joint because we have license to that song.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that one.
Yeah. So if they're already in, then news to my show. It's all the synchronistic moment in time. We'll go do it again. We'll go do it. You know, because Willie says he has one song that says, when I die, roll me up and smoke me. And one of my shows, somebody said, yeah, we're trying to figure out how to really, get his ashes and put them in and get somebody one molecule of Willie's ashes so we can roll them and smoke Willie, you know.
All you have to do is write his lyrics on a rolling paper and you're going to be rolling them up to smoke him.
There you go. There you go. So that's pretty amazing. Solo, give us a quote for the day.
All right, I got you. So today's quote: "Be thankful for the bad things in life. They open your eyes to the good things you weren't paying attention to before."
Good one.
Absolutely.
I got one more.
Okay.
I got one more. All right. Actually, we'll do this one. I like this one a lot better. It's gonna fit more in today's show. All right. Growth also looks like letting people assume wrongly about you. we're just making a connection to cannabis. So all those people, those non-cannabis people telling us all stoners, all we do is get high, we don't do anything. We sit on the couch, we smoke weed, we do crack, we do cocaine, we do all that bad stuff. All right? None of that's true, right? Growth also looks like letting people assume wrongly about you, knowing that the little fictional story in their mind is more about their fears, its insecurities than your reality. So the minute cannabis comes widely legal, the whole world's gonna be peaceful. Everyone's gonna be hating then. Hate, hate, hate. But we kill more kindness.
Healing of the nations.
Bob Marley was one of the most disciplined people I ever met, and he smoked massive amounts of herb.
I got a quote for you, Jeff.
Okay, come on in. Come on up.
Let he who's not stoned cast the first sin.
I like that one. My favorite is Confucius say, "Man who stand on toilet high on pot."
And laughter will cure cancer.
Amen.
I mean, everybody goes and does their chemo, and then they do their radiation, and then they do their cannabis, but they're not laughing at the same time. We need some stand up. You know what let's get some stand-up cannabis people at the concert. Let's I'll ask Bill Maher to find the funniest cannabis dude ever, and we're gonna rock the concert. I got closer yesterday, everybody, to the concert. My update with the concert was I met with one of my friends who was involved with Live Aid, and so I'm not I'm not able to to say his name right now and all that stuff, but there could be some Carlos Santana in the air and all that kind of stuff. But he was there at Live Aid, and somebody said look him up on the internet, and I did, and he said that when I had a meeting with him yesterday here in Port Townsend live in face to face, he said that he handled the live stream for 200 million people around the world. And so if we live stream this for $4.20 times a million people, or how about 100 million people, we'll be able to help give restitution to the prisoners. And that's our gift for them being in jail for 30 years without their children. So the concert's coming, everybody. Who knows when, even if it's 420 next year, but we're aiming for December. I have Jenna from Coachella, our Oregon Country Fair, and from Burning Man. She says she will help produce it, so we have to raise the money for her, everybody. So get in touch with me, relieffoundation.org. You can find my phone number there also, and you know how to find me, everybody. But help us through music. Lady Gaga just did how many people in Brazil? 1 million, or was it 2? I think it was 2 million people on the beach, and Lady Gaga was the lead singer. And then she did LA. She did the concert in LA with Stevie Wonder, raised $100 million, and they put that together in 3 days. So Jenna is our producer. That is my choice, and I honor her, so I'm not going back to her till we have a down deposit. So Woody Harrelson, Mike Tyson, come to me, because if we live stream, we'll be able to help you, help us, and help the prisoners. So everybody, I'm going to share my screen one more time. I found my video that I wanted to share with you, and here we go. So share screen, tell me if you can see that. Okay, so share screen there, and then I'm going to go to right here. Here we go. So check this out. Let's see if we can get the YouTube part of this. Okay, here we go. So come on, YouTube. There we go. Okay. We'll see how our bandwidth does. Come on.
The Trump administration doesn't do anything based on science, and you can't trust anything they say. It's wonderful wishful thinking, but nothing good comes out of Trump. It's only when he can make a personal profit off something that anything happens.
Right on to my room.
Yeah, can I respond to that video quickly, Jeff?
Yes, come on in all the way, 100%.
I agree with Kim 100%. You can listen to what politicians say, but you need to watch what they do. I do think that Trump everything he does is transactional, and he may make a deal with the pharmaceutical industry, basically, that limits, access and commercialization and some kind of, like all of a sudden a pharmaceutical guy buys $1 million worth of his meme coin and they reschedule. I mean, that's the kind of thing, that would happen. But I listed along with the video a lot of good things that Schedule 3 could do. Schedule 3 could do one very, very bad thing, in my opinion, and that is it could slow down or stop descheduling entirely. In other words, schedule none instead of schedule 1, decades or more.
Correct.
Because there'd be we don't need to remove it. Look, we made it to schedule 3.
That's like putting a binky in the baby's mouth.
Right. Exactly. Right. That's the bad thing that schedule 3 will do, is it will basically guarantee no descheduling for years, in my opinion. And what we really need is to get it completely off the schedule. Now, that's not politically feasible in the near future anyway. So, it's a toss up whether the cost benefit analysis. But we need to get people out of jails and prisons, and Schedule 3 does not do that in any way, shape, or form. Well, let me back that up. Theoretically, lawyers could make the argument that when my client was sentenced to 10 or 20 years, it was Schedule 1, right? And now it's Schedule 3. So, we petitioned the government to review the sentencing guide, of my client.
That's a perfect angle. That's where we need to roll.
Potential angle, but it doesn't realize.
It adds more red tape.
We need a Democratic president who's just going to free all the prisoners, who's going to say none of these people should have been in prison and we're letting them out. It's not going to happen under Trump. Not unless he can find some way to make a huge profit out of it.
100%.
Well,
Which that doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense to me, right? At the end of the day, right? We know cannabis and hemp. I was in a Twitter space for everyone who knows about Web3 on the other side, right? I was in a Twitter space with Paul, another legendary cannabis activist, wonderful dude. He was explaining that cannabis is a $1 billion industry. The hemp business, that's a whole other story. That's a $1 trillion business. So I don't understand these government officials. They be sitting here talking about, yo, we $1 trillion in that. Hold on a second. If you legalize hemp and legalize cannabis, we're not gonna be in this problem. But y'all just wanna
And hemp
take
is
money
a
from the poor.
huge threat to the alcohol industry, to the tobacco industry, to the clothing.
Okay.
Cotton.
Electric cars got through. Okay, so now I'm gonna state that if we have hemp cigarettes made by Marlboro, they can take a part, they can take a piece, and if we have anything that is the marijuana aspect to it, I think that it's going to be. I mean, it's like Solo just said, it's trillion and billion-dollar industry. The hemp industry can totally. I mean, the alcohol industry. Let's have Coors Green.
Jeff, Solo is extremely correct that cannabis is not the gateway to hard drugs. It's the gateway to economic prosperity for America, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what we see with electric cars is the oil industry now basically making billions of dollars or millions, probably $1 billion of contributions to political campaigns, and the only thing that's helping the only thing preventing the electric car industry from being completely destroyed is that Elon Musk owns an electric car company. But right now they're rolling back, funding for charging stations and stuff. So this is a tug of war. And so I think that
and guess what? They have a hemp battery that I heard was 300 times or 3 times better than the nickel cadmium or whatever they're using, the lithium. I heard hemp is, well, anyways.
Our founding fathers said that our economy should be based on hemp. Our founding fathers raised hemp, and they knew its value. So,
wait, what's this?
That hemp can do, I think, is to replace fossil fuel petrochemical based plastics with biodegradable hemp plastic, because we have a plastic crisis in the world that threatens humanity and the natural world.
Hemp plastic right there, everybody.
Perfect. So then think about this, right? You said our founding fathers, right? So I read this stuff. This is interesting. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, they grew weed.
yes,
Hold on a second. Your presidents did that, and then let's fast forward, right? We know JFK was sparking up. That's the great president John F. Kennedy, right? And then we know about Nixon, right? They literally came to him and told him, "Yeah, there's nothing wrong with weed. It makes people happy." Da 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 da. What do you think, boss? Do you think we should go with it? Yeah, but you know what? The war on drugs is better than weed. What? What about no? And that's how that happened. They literally told him there's nothing wrong with cannabis, Nixon, and he still went ahead and did what he did.
Because they could
Explain that to me.
They could oppress marginalized communities and communities of color and poor rural people with drug laws.
I think the original dollar bill was printed on hemp, and the and the Bill of Rights
First draft of the Constitution was printed on hemp.
Yeah, in weed we trust.
Betsy Ross's flag made with hemp cloth.
Yeah, Betsy Ross's flag, and all the and
you know what the flag was actually made from, right? Horse garments. Yes, they were hemp based.
Yep.
They were actually made from horse garments. The first flag, and they were all made of hemp.
Well,
repurposing.
And Ford made the first hemp car. Ford made the first hemp car, and all that stuff. It's not an argument, and the fact that they don't sit down with us. Now listen, we have Amy Pova and Weldon D'Angelo that are navigating some really powerful stuff in Washington D.C. and being our spokespeople on the inside. They're people that we know. Correct, Vivian? We know those people, or we know Amy, right? And they're
correct.
They're on the inside, okay, and they're assisting us to make sense and to give our argument that we're having today, which is should not be an argument. It should be gospel. If they're talking about science, then look at all the money that can be made from hempcrete homes and insulation and fabric,
But this administration is not going to do what makes best sense for the country. They're going to do what makes the best sense for the oligarch class, because that's what it's all about. Is personal enrichment. The culture war is a class war in disguise. And so we need to come up with arguments that explain the economic benefits of legalization on terms that these people can identify with. And that's the challenge that we have. Because they're not going to do what's in the best interest of the country. They're going to do what's in the best interest of their personal wealth, in my opinion.
So for example,
that's the problem. Uncle Vivian, that's the problem, right? I'm a normal person, right? I consume cannabis. I'm a medical patient. I'm a good person, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They'll never talk to me, but if I come to them with money, oh, so breezy. Oh, let's help you out here. It's not fair. It don't work that way. I wish we could, but it's just interesting how those people who went degrees, have those awesome degrees and nice cars, et cetera, are running. Well, I could probably do a better job, and I didn't graduate college. I did graduate cannabis college, though. I could probably do a better job.
Well, the one thing that cannabis does is it helps dissolve the illusion that these people have woven of lies and deceit and oppression, right? Cannabis is a liberator of the mind. It's a mild psychedelic, I think. And I can just pray, hopefully, that more people smoking legal weed will result in more people coming to an awareness and an epiphany that we're being conned and we're being, worked, fleeced by the billionaire corporate oligarch class. They're killing the world. They're killing our biosphere so they can have temporary profit, right? And cannabis, hemp, is the one natural resource that can play such a role in mitigating climate change. There is no other cause. If we don't deal with climate change, there is no other cause because humanity is screwed, as it is half the natural world.
we'll lose the oceans, the sky, the soil, and humanity, like you said.
Right. That's right. So it's the ultimate cause is climate change. The ultimate mitigation, the ultimate natural resource for mitigation is hemp, is industrial hemp. And we could do a whole show on all the ways that hemp combats climate change, right?
It even purifies our air.
It's the number one soil remediator. It takes pollution and radiation out of the soil.
It cleans the air, right?
It cleans the air, it cleans the soil. It's our natural filter.
Yes.
And what happens when I can tell you from internal experience, if you remove our natural interior filter, we don't function very well. But I've replaced most of mine with hemp internally with all the smoking, and that's pretty much what keeps me alive. One biosphere to another, I fully agree with you that we should go full hemp and that we should be more reliant on it. And in doing and so would not only break up the congestion between our ears as a society, but it would break up the congestion in our planet as far as all the bad crud that we have going on that we're just sitting and seeping in. And I mean, you can't grow anyone naturally and healthily in an environment that's so toxic. And when we have nature's way of purification, why are we not using it to its umpteenth degree? How toxic are you that you're that afraid of being cleansed?
I'm going to find my father lived in Mexico for 30 years in Baja doing lightweight concrete. He never knew hempcrete, but he did a video of himself talking, and he said, my grandchildren are inheriting a dirty, toxic world, and I feel responsible for that, and I want to clean it up. And my father was crying in this video. So I'll find that, and I'll do a legacy video for my dad one of these days. But that's it. we got to steward this baby right now and give it to Solo, and give it to the children
Yeah.
to be able to grow millions of acres of hemp in the Dakotas. The Dakotas are ready to grow the hemp, and I'm going to be doing a 3D printing of a hemp dome here on my property. We're going to get Noah before his Parkinson's sets in, and we're going to get that financed, and we're going to do the first one so we can do a house a day 3D printed on the largest 3D dome printer in the world. And I have it, and we just went there 2 weeks ago with my friend Wes from California, and he said, I've already sold 3, Jeffrey. Let's get in on this. Let's make it happen. But guess what? If you can print a hemp domecrete, okay, or a domecrete that I heard the new concrete is made out of rice hull. And it's been around for 30 years, and it's stronger than concrete. And rice is grown everywhere on the planet. So the bottom line is that if we get Noah's machine to work, we can make hundreds of these printing machines and go to Gaza and rebuild Gaza.
And hempcrete is carbon negative. It's not carbon neutral, it's carbon negative. Hempcrete sucks carbon out of the air as it hardens, and traditional cement releases tremendous amount of toxic pollution and climate pollution every time that a cement building is demolished, which is happening nonstop all over the world every single day, 24 hours.
Right. It's really important to not just look at the canary in the coal mine, but to remember that the ladies that were dipping their brushes into the glow in the dark paint during World War II and putting it in their mouth and then putting the numbers on the watch faces, you could Geiger count their gravestones. And they were dying early because we're not stewarded in. The dirtiest fabric in the world is glyphosate cotton. The cotton we wear, the carpets we have, all that stuff can be done with hemp, with jute, and with alternative, vegan mentality.
It could solve the homeless crisis too.
In a heartbeat.
If I get this dome built on my house and on my property with Noah, and we steward that and we make his product and we get some architects around us in the hemp industry, because hempcrete is not structural right now. It's the best R value insulation. But if we use all of our knowledge and we use our noggin and we don't worry about rescheduling, because this whole show today is about rescheduling, we just do the concert. We get money for the prisoners that are coming home. We carry on through music and have a ball, and so they'll be happy and build hempcrete homes. They're in Canada. They're making
that's a job source. There's job sourcing right there as well. And out of curiosity, with hempcrete, is it more flexible? Because in California, that could be a huge selling point. Earthquake County,
Well, my friend hemp does not burn.
It's not more flexible, but it's lighter. It's lighter than traditional cement, and so in an earthquake or situation, but hempcrete will not burn. Also, there's a guy named Greg Flaval who builds homes for people to age out in. In other words, he builds homes for people to die in, so they can stay in with a wheelchair, and it's designed so that you don't go to a rest home. And they found that because it is alkaline, it offsets alkaline air, that people live longer. They live an average of 5 to 10 years longer in a hempcrete home if they're allowed to age out than in regular homes. Just so many reasons.
It's the lime in the concrete. It's the lime in the coconut. Mix it all up. It's the lime in the coconut. Right. It's the lime, and it's the combination. And concrete is dirty to the planet. There's holes in the earth from concrete, from digging concrete. Got to stop it. Got to avenge my father. Buckminster Fuller said we're going to run out of resources. And the canary in the coal mine is climate change, everybody. And hemp is the solution. I just came from NOCO 11, everybody, and everybody there was having a. I mean, I saw this two different demonstrations. One was they were building hempcrete blocks, okay, and they were pretty crude, and they look pretty crude, but they're wonderful, right? And they were big old bricks. The next one I went outside, and these guys had like 40 people out there watching them do the hempcrete, but they mixed it and they found a way to pour it, and they're pouring hempcrete now. So, so just look out for, I mean, the more we study it, the more we do it, the more we put money into it, the more I can get a dome built in a day and validate that and get millions of dollars behind that. We can rebuild LA, we can rebuild Gaza, and it doesn't have to be a square house anymore.
You know what would be fun is if on 420 events, we just passed out little packets of hemp seeds and had people just scatter them in the dirtiest parts of the city and not tell anybody and just let it grow like it was wild.
We used to call it flower bombs. You would throw them out your window with hemp seeds in them when you're driving. They would be like flower bombs,
We should bring that back. We could really use a lot of those.
Vivian, who was that guy in Orange Sunshine, the movie Orange Sunshine, where they went to, I just saw this movie. The guy died. He was a surfer dude. And he went to Afghanistan, and they cut open all the surfboards and they packed them with hash, and then they fiberglassed them. And it was before they had, scanning and dogs, and they sent thousands of surfboards back to America packed with hash. But those guys were the ones that gave 1 million free tabs of acid to wake up everybody in America during the 60s. Those were
the Brotherhood of Eternal Love.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, we need to raise the temperature, and it's not hemporary. It would be exemplary, because I'm a hemposapien, and I just couldn't help myself, bro. I had to say that.
Oh, well, that's education right there. Let's put that into it. Don't Bogart.
Real quick, we're 4 minutes away from 420. We're on here on the East Coast.
Okay. Hey,
I'm
we're 4
already
minutes.
packing for you.
Can we do our thank you picture here? Give a thank you picture, everybody. Hold 3 fingers up, everybody.
Okay.
3 fingers, Viv. There we go. Forward. Turn it around, Vivian. Forward. Turn it around. Forward. There you go.
I have a delay. Oh, there's a delay.
Well, I just don't want the gangs, but you know what? Maybe I'll switch that. Maybe it's okay. It's weed. Okay, everybody, it's 3, 2, 1. It's weed, it's peace, and it's F Schedule 1. So today's episode, everybody, 261. We're happy to have Kim, Cece, Solo, and Vivian. And Solo, why don't you take us out with one last quote?
Real quick, I got to give the shout outs, though. We got to give shout outs to love. We got so many people in the cannabis. There's a lot of stuff going on. Real quick, I'm going to give a shout out to Uncle Vivian. It was a pleasure to meet you finally the first time. I'm going to definitely reach out in contact with you. Shout out to Uncle Eric and Uncle Axel out there out on the West Coast of Washington. Uncle Jeff, you know I love you. Miss Kim, you know I love you. Miss Kim, you know I love you so much. I can't wait to come meet you one day and talk to you. And thank you so much, CC Ryder, coming through, aka Heather, on the podcast. First time Weed Wednesday, Women in Wednesday, right, Uncle Jeff? That's important. We gotta have weed and women together, right?
Totally, yeah.
Right, and I gotta give a shout out to other people. Canna Nurse, where you at? Shout out to you, Uncle Grasshopper.
I talked to Grasshopper yesterday. He just had his appendix removed, and he's doing fine, everybody.
Okay.
But it was painful, he said.
Yeah, tell him his nephew Sola misses him. He's the only one that shows me the way. Grasshopper's the way.
Giving vibes.
And best, and the last one, shout out to my favorite, one and only Crazy Pop Mom. Love you, Mom.
Love you, Mom. We'll see you again soon. And everybody, I'm going to roll out of here with the...
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Mad love.
Thank you, CC.
I got the quote, and I have the quote ready when you're ready.
Okay, go for it.
All right. Quoted by Jenny Young. Pause and remember, every single event in your life, especially the difficult lessons, have made you smarter, stronger, and wiser than you were yesterday.
I learned a lot today on our show, everybody. It's 4:19 in on the East Coast where Solo is, and it's almost 4:20. So everybody, I'm going to roll out of here. Kim, you asked to share your screen. Did you want to share something with us? You're muted. You're muted, Kim.
I just wanted to show you the High Times cover.
Oh, come on. Yeah, bring it on. For sure.
Can you see it?
Oh, what a beautiful picture. Look at that smile.
Yeah, he was enjoying it. And the grass wasn't anywhere near as good then as it is now.
I don't know. Some of that old school stuff is better than some of the newer stuff I get. And I go, why did you put so much in here? Okay.
Are you sharing your screen right now, Kim?
I am.
Mm-hmm.
How come I don't see it?
I'm seeing it.
I'm seeing it.
Okay, I'll post-produce it and put it in there. So, yeah, I don't see it. Huh? Where's that screen? Hang on. Let's see here.
It's on the live.
My husband says it was Colombian grass.
Hey.
What looks like? What year was that? What year was that? Kim, mid-70s?
76.
Yep,
Yeah.
I thought so, judging from his dreads. Nice.
Legalize it. Don't criticize it, everybody. It's Jeff Eichen with episode 261. Descheduling is not no schedule. So we'll take what we get, I guess, and let's keep going. Everybody forge forward. And I'm going to share my screen now. And here we go. And I'm going to do our outro. Take a look at our outro, everybody. And I'll see you next week. You guys are welcome to come again next week. And here's our outro, everybody. 1, 2, 3. Welcome to episode 259. 61. 2, 3. Hooray! Until we get the license, don't bogart that joint, my friend. Pass it over to me. Roll another one. That was us at Hempfest, everybody. The other one. 2019.
Shifting weed from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 is the wrong move. It will do absolutely nothing to legalize weed or get the tens of thousands of people incarcerated for cannabis-related offenses out of jail. All it does is change its status from a drug with, quote, no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse, to one with, quote, moderate to low potential for physical and psychological dependence. It puts cannabis in the same category as things like ketamine and anabolic steroids, but it doesn't move it out of the Controlled Substances Act, which means that it will still be illegal to possess under federal law. One thing Schedule 3 will do, though, is place fewer restrictions on scientists who want to study the plant, something they've had to jump through government hurdles to be able to do under Schedule 1. It would also theoretically allow cannabis to be available by prescription, but since there's no federal medical cannabis program, the more likely scenario in my mind is that pharmaceutical companies see this, jump on the weed wagon, and charge you out the ass for drugs they make and doctors prescribe. At the end of the day, rescheduling cannabis from 1 to 3 would be the biggest move the federal government has ever made concerning the plant. But the fact remains that there are tens of thousands of individuals, mostly people of color, who are incarcerated for cannabis-related offenses, and this move won't help keep anyone out. Descheduling it and decriminalizing it altogether is the only solution to that end.
Let's have a great show today, episode 261, WEEDSDAY podcast and end prohibition. and re-legalize marijuana. Roundtable today, and let's talk about it. Figure this whole thing out. Welcome. Hemp Hemp Hooray. Thank you, HempFest. Yay, yay, yay. Okay, everybody, it's Jeff Eichen here, and we're back in action here. And it was great to have Kim on. Cece, you're welcome anytime. It's really amazing to have the women involved in here, and the testimonials. The testimonials. I love that it's helping you, and it's your choice.
I appreciate you guys very much. It was wonderful to come on. I'm going to go get my little man. He's getting ready to come home from school and start the second half of my day. But I will see you guys on here. You have a wonderful day, and peace, love, and happiness.
Okay, and Vivian, it's always great to hang the swang with you and help to end prohibition. So, and Solo, thank you. I'm glad you got to hang out with Vivian. Vivian's a superstar in his own right, and we're gonna do this together. We're gonna do this together. I mean, I really feel inspired this week. I'm healing my own heart. I'm going into a sweat lodge in about a week and a half here locally. We do a sweat lodge about every month and a half. And so if you, Vivian, if you want to do a really incredible sweat lodge, I'll put you on the email list. You can come over with your buddy, and we're doing that. And Solo, keep on keeping on. Come on as often as you can. We love having you.
Hey, every day, working hard as they can to get a job in the cannabis industry. So every day we out here fighting as hard as we can,
Well, there's plenty of money to.
Much love and respect. Really nice to know you, man.
Thank you. So if you don't know, Vivian, I actually went to school for cannabis. I have a cannabis degree, and I'm actually just re-enrolled, and I'm going back to get my second degree in cannabis. So.
Awesome.
What I want to do.
I put my contact info in the chat. I got yours, man. Let's follow up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Do you use any type of social media, by the way? If you do any, let me know. I'm active, though. I'm around anytime.
I'm active on everything except X now.
Okay. Send me your information. I got you then. But Uncle Jeff, we text back and forth, too. So.
Okay, everybody out there in Relief World Land and Weeds Day. That's Weeds Day, everybody. Who knows where I'll be next, but right now I'm taking care of my friend Jill, who's moving to Sri Lanka to open up a orphanage, and she's in her late 70s and a beautiful soul, and she's gonna spend the rest of her days with children and helping them to become realized and happy. A lot of abused humans on the planet. Take care of yourselves, be nice to each other. And, Willie says, to all the women I once loved, you know who I'm talking to. So I love you all, men and women. And Grasshopper, this one's for you. Peace in the Middle East, everybody. And until next time, hemp, hemp, hooray. Love you so much, everybody. Hang on, I got one last bell for you here. Let's pull my little bell up here. If that could change climate change, we'd do it. So hemp plastic, here we come. Love you all. Peace out. See you soon, Viv. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna call you after the show, okay?
Peace out. Yeah, love.
Recording stopped.
Oh, well, I don't have it.
Again.
Yeah, do it again because I was stoned or something. But yeah, let's do that. And was it his agent or him?
No, it's the direct stuff.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna do Solo Breezy right now. Hang on, let's go back to my. I just walked.
I've got to know those info because he put his in the contact in the chat. I put mine in the chat too.
Oh yeah, well, but I'll hit him. I'll hit him hard too. I'll say get with Vivian and give him Cece's information. Hang on.
Oh, I see. He's got it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go. Yeah, well, he's the one that brought Cece, so he's gonna know how to get Cece. Hang on.
Got it.
So Solo, where's Solo? Here we go. Solo.
And I could bring him on also tomorrow, but it'd be a little harder to be prepared that quick.
Yeah, but Solo's relaxed. I mean he's intuitive. Whatever. He's just on the fly. Okay, Solo. Okay, I got Solo. Please, PLEASE. Please. Do you want him to friend you on Facebook, or do you want him to text you on a phone?
He can text me. It'd be great.
Okay, please text Vivian and to join him TOMORRO to join him tomorrow and get CC also for
I only want one at a time. I'd like to invite them both to my show though.
okay for a future show for a FUTUR future show so yeah, you have his stuff too. So
yeah, I mean, if you just give me a call, would be the best thing. But
so I want CC's contact
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
info, please. So I just sent that, and then
And then
What's your phone number? What's your phone number? 206?
295-7258. Yeah, I had a cancellation. It left me hanging, man. I don't have anybody for tomorrow, which is a problem for me because I've had to cancel a couple in a row.
So 206-295-7258.
7258. You got it, my brother.
Okay, so that's Vivian. Cool, man. Yeah, all is well. I met with Rick Lukens yesterday, and then I called Coach, and Coach got Bobby online, and they validated me in front of Rick Lukens. When I looked Rick Lukens up yesterday, I've known him for 2 years. I finally got to sit down with him yesterday for an hour and a half, and his dad died on Sunday, 10 minutes after he saw me. He says, Jeff, let's talk when I get back from Hawaii. And he said, 10 minutes after I left you, Jeffrey, I was at an art show and doing my art, and he bumped into me, and he was with his wife. And so in his grief and everything, we met yesterday, and I looked him up, and he was the live streamer. He was the international dude for Live Aid with Gildog. Yeah, that's big, man. That's big. And so I was really relaxed with him, and I don't get starstruck because I hung out with him. And so yeah. That that's not Willie. That's not Willie.
Original. So why is it on this?
Yeah, that's not Willie.
Okay, cool. So yeah, this looks like he hasn't done it.
Yeah, but I have stash. I have stash, and he'll totally like go deep
You got stash in your cash.
in my ash. Yeah. So let's yeah. So let's pull that one off. You know. And I lost track of.
You need to get stash out of your ash so you can fund your big bash.
So I can fund the big fucking bash. What happens if I pull this off, dude? Is you're gonna not only be wealthy, but we're gonna have HempFest as one of the main logos on the jackets, you know, and all that shit. And we'll have a section. We'll have an honorarium. And we'll have out in the area where all the vendors are, we'll totally have Hemposium and have a mini hemp fest there. We'll bring all your people.
I mean, that'd be great, but what we really need to do is get the prisoners out, man. You know, I mean, I'm cool with all that, but the priority, man, is priorities.
Well, we focus on it, yes, without a doubt. I'm being a nice guy, you know, not that I'm not a nice guy. I'm just saying is that I want your swag and your help. And if I'm going to live stream this, and I would like even maybe to have you have a conversation with the guy that I talked to with Rick Lukens yesterday. I'll set that up. I'm going to talk to him again Friday, and then what happens with you is he just talked to Coach, this guy back in the Midwest, Bobby, Coach and Bobby yesterday, and they said we're doing 100,000 people next weekend, and Coach says talk to Bobby, Jeffrey, right now on this phone and tell him what you're doing. And Bobby said I'm 100% in. I'm all the way in. And so he got so Rick Lukens, who's kind of lukewarm, you know, and he's not saying I'm all the way in, but he says, I want to help you, Jeffrey, but I've got so many coals in the fire. I said, dude, stop everything if we're going to live stream to 200 million people for $4.20. Let's move this forward. But if I bring you on board also, it's just validating. It's making it urgent. Because Lady Gaga just did 2 million people in Brazil last week.
Right on.
You know, and that means that everybody is ready for a big fat concert, and nobody's doing a weed big fat concert. And And I didn't mean to say, you know, well, I'm going to throw you a bone and you can have Hempfest at the concert. It's that if we have Hempfest there, if we have Freedom Grove, if we have 40 Tons, if we have Last Prisoner Project, then that's enough to make this thing, you know, validated and go to the White House. I mean, of course, Trump's not going to do shit. That's what, I mean, that's why Kim was excellent when she started off, right? You know, she's totally an anti-Trumpy, you know, and so she totally was resonating with everything you were saying.
Yeah, she's freaking awesome.
Yeah, she's freaking awesome. She's 79.
Really?
Yeah.
Gosh, you look great.
No, I dig it. I dig it. I'm just saying, you know, I'm dating grannies right now, you know, but anyways, yeah, let me text the Brewer and Shipley guy. I'm not attached to it, but that music, you know, through music, I you know, I need to get the and it looks like, you know, Willie did not do Bogart, so let's get that happening with and if Jelly Roll already did something with Willie, they didn't do Bogart. I've got it. Let's go fly down and redo it. So party on, dude. Peace out. It like exploded when it opened up, and so I'm waiting for them. And then now, I don't know when they're coming, so I got to call Amazon, and Amazon won't answer, and I got to find out if those guys are on their way, so I don't go down to the city to pay my electric bill and then blah, blah, blah. So hang on, I'm going to get the Angelo email here. Let's see. Angelo. Oh, I had an epic show today. Angelo. Angelo. Well, they, my friends went into the White House and they asked Donald Trump to let the prisoners out. Well, that didn't happen, but they're going to reschedule marijuana down from 1 to 3, and that's not going to help my prisoners. So even if they do make everything legal, I'm still going to do a concert. But this didn't work. But anyways, we had a roundtable today, and I had the lady that photographed Bob Marley was on today. Some new lady came on that Solo Breezy brought, and Sol's a young black kid that's on my show, and he reads the quote of the day every week, and he says, "Yeah, I'm very thankful for Uncle Jeff to have the WEEDSDAYS show. I've been on for a couple of years, and I want to get a job in the." Anyways, it was just an epic show. And then I had Vivian from HempFest, and he's got the people something and Shifley were on his show, and he just gave me their manager, and they sang "One Toke Over the Line, Sweet Jesus." So if I get that and Bogart, then I get then what happens is I get the beginning of my CD to raise money for the show.
Right.
If I get "One Toke Over the Line, Sweet Jesus," yeah. Brewer and Shipley, that's the name of them. Let's see, New Moon Sweat Lodge, invite confidentially. Please do not share this email. Location and time, May 26th. 11 a.m. May 26th, 11 a.m. Yes. So let's see what May 26th is, what day that is. Okay. Yeah, well, I can't forward it to you, but I'll get you an introduction to him. 26 is on a Saturday. Bye. Bye. Um,
Welcome to Amazon. Please note that this call may be recorded for training and quality purposes.
Hello, everybody.
To
I'm
make this
sorry.
easier, I can text you a link to our customers page where you can quickly find answers and resolve your issue. If you want me to send you the link, say yes, or you can stay on the line.
Yes. Hey, everybody. I'm going to end my stream now, and I'm sorry I took off I had an emergency. So, hemp hooray. Great show today.